work to ensure those commodities end up where they'll be needed most.
Well, nimbleness requires you to pre-position as much as you can.
And even with Dorian still
bringing 8 dogs to Atlanta today. They're from a shelter southeast of Tallahassee that was already full. 40 cats are expected tomorrow from another Florida shelter. Fulton County Sheriff's officials investigating tonight after a deputy was caught on camera punching a man. The cell phone video shows another deputy pulling the first deputy off that man. Earlier, the deputy was seen pushing the man away from a lounge along Spring Street in Midtown Atlanta last night, then slapping him. And later, the deputy in just a white tank top here ran across the street and hit the man again. We do not know what sparked this incident. We got this statement from Fulton County today. Deputies are held to a higher standard and are expected to respond professionally to all incidents. This agency never condones any form of misconduct. New at 11, people shopping inside busy Lenox Square hid in stores after they thought there was a shooting. Channel 2's Alyssa Hyman is live in Buckhead tonight. And Alyssa, please say this panic all started with a fight.
Justin, we had a ton of calls and messages from viewers who thought this was an active shooter, but police have told us there were no shots fired, but that didn't stop the fear and panic from spreading. We found this video on Instagram. It shows APD officers surrounding Lenox Square Saturday afternoon. Multiple shoppers told us about seeing and experiencing the widespread panic.
We weren't sure really what happened. We just seen a lot of people just running.
We now know it all stemmed from a big fight that broke out in the food court near the Checkers, but it was initially and incorrectly reported as a shooting. While APD assures us no shots were ever fired, inside the mall, fear of an active shooter spread quickly.
The noise just started getting louder and louder, people running.
Kyle Bryant was inside one of the stores. He said an employee quickly ushered everyone to a small bathroom in the back.
You hear other people coming, some doors slamming, and you sort of jump because nobody knows what's going on. You keep hearing there's an active shooter.
Bryant told us people were calling 911 and mall security, but still it wasn't clear whether there was still an active threat. Eventually, he says, the group escaped through an employee-only hallway.
So how did you know it was safe to leave, or did you not?
We didn't.
Bryant says there was no communication after the fact, letting people know that the threat was over.
Once the all clear was given or police showed up, why were you not walking the halls telling people, hey, it's safe, it's okay, this is how you exit the building?
And police have told me they do not have any indication that a weapon was present during the incident. I also reached out to Lenox Square to ask how they handle security issues like this. They told me that a spokesperson referred me back to APD. We're live in Buckhead tonight. Alyssa Hyman, Channel 2 Action News Night Beat.
Police need help finding a man accused of firing shots at an off-duty officer. We got these photos of that suspect today. Atlanta police say he broke into cars and a parking deck on LaFrance Street in northeast Atlanta this morning. An off-duty officer saw him pulling on car handles and confronted him. Police say the man shot at the officer and the officer's brother. No one was hurt.
Somebody that is that brazen is going to fire upon a police officer. There's concerns that he would do something like that to a member of the community. So we want to make sure that we get this person off the street.
And here's another look now at that suspect. If you have any information, call Crime Stoppers 404-577-8477. That's 404-577-TIPS.
I'm tracking Dorian. I'll bring you the scenarios that you need to know about and be prepared for. Plus, temperatures, they're feeling pretty nice outside. Storm Tracker 2HD, nice and dry. We'll take a look at that Labor Day holiday weekend forecast in the next 10 minutes.
The first full Saturday in college football season saw Dog fans take over Vanderbilt Stadium in Nashville today, while Georgia State did something they've never done before. And here's another look now at tonight's.
At Montlick & Associates, we know what it takes to win. After all, we've been fighting hard and winning cases for over 35 years. And now reaching us is even easier. From your landline, call 1-800-LAW-NEED. Use our live online chat at montlick.com or simply dial #WIN from your cell phone to request your free consultation. That's #946. We're Montlick & Associates. If you've been injured, we're here to help you 24/7, including this holiday.
With Georgia's Own, I can bank with a local company I trust.
I'm a part owner, not just a number.
And because they're not for profit, I get lower rates and better perks.
They even give back to where I live.
That's why I'm proud to be one of Georgia's own.
Get more from your checking. Earn $85 when you open a new Georgia's Own Perks Plus checking account and pay no monthly fee for 90 days. Apply now at georgiasown.org.
Georgia's Own Credit Union.
Banking on purpose.
Now live to Fort Lauderdale, Florida from surfline.com. One of their cameras, South Florida beaches, quiet tonight after so many people left ahead of the Hurricane Dorian. And meteorologist Katie Walls is live in Severe Weather Center 2, going over these latest models on where the storm could hit now.
And of course, we're going to be keeping a close eye on this, Justin, because now it's a waiting game. We still have days before we're going to be dealing with any sort of impact along Georgia's coastline. So a lot of time to watch the storm develop and evolve. I'm going to bring you the newest on Dorian as of 11 o'clock from the National Hurricane Center. The track has not changed since 5 p.m. So if you were watching us at 6, live streaming on our devices, live streaming through our WSB app, then you know this track is the same. It's now forecast the center of the track keeps it well offshore. That's the best scenario. The farther offshore, the better. The farther offshore, the less the impact, obviously. And then we also have that opportunity, if that northward turn doesn't occur soon enough, then we could have more of an impact from Florida into Georgia as well as the Carolinas. So I want to talk about a couple of those scenarios. What we need to expect, what we need to plan for. I always say be prepared, not scared, because that's the best scenario, especially for our friends along the coastline. So many of us have loved ones in southeast Georgia as well as South Carolina and Florida for that matter. Scenario number 1 brings the track a little closer to shore. This would mean the coastal flooding, the storm surge would be even greater. And unfortunately, the freshwater flooding would also be a huge concern. North Georgia, though, in this scenario, would stay mostly dry, just a bit breezy, mid to late week. The other scenario, scenario number 2, brings the storm farther inland. Keep in mind that track, that forecast cone, it could move more westward. That's why we have cone. That's why it's so expansive. So let's say that that turn toward the north doesn't occur until a bit later, then that could mean more of an impact for inland Florida, inland Georgia, and obviously the closer we are to the storm, then North Georgia could be dealing with some breezy and rainy conditions mid to late week. Obviously, the best scenario is what we have now, what we're hoping for, and we're hoping it'll go even farther offshore because even as of right now, just sitting just 50 miles offshore, it's going to be like a Matthew scenario, what we experienced in October of 2016, extensive coastal flooding, as well as freshwater flooding. Speaking of which, check out all of this rain that we're projecting to impact coastal Florida as well as coastal Georgia, coastal South Carolina. 12 to 18 inches of rain, that on top of storm surge. So here are your takeaways. Then we'll talk about our beautiful Labor Day holiday weekend forecast. Minimal impact as of now here in North Georgia, but our friends along coastal Georgia need to be ready for some flooding as well as riptides. Meanwhile, overnight tonight, looking pretty nice. Clouds, though, will be increasing. Your Sunday morning starting off with a bit more cloud cover. If we do have an isolated rain shower for your Sunday afternoon, that will mainly be south of I-20. So I have those rain chances for your Sunday afternoon running at 20%. Temperatures, they'll be feeling pretty nice. Starting off around 69 degrees in Atlanta, 71 in LaGrange, topping out around 87 degrees for Atlanta and 89 for Eatonton. 5-day forecast shaping up like this. Notice your rain chances, they're going to stay nice and low, friends, as we head into your Labor Day holiday. And then notice the low 90s Tuesday into Wednesday. Your rain chances at this point, based upon the track of Dorian, will stay very low through the entire week. Here you go, Fish Care Report 4. Tomorrow we're looking at a peak time right around 4 a.m. Meteorologist Brian Monahan will be back with you on Channel 2 Action News Sunday a.m., updating Dorian's track.
Our first edition of Sports Zone Saturday this fall set to begin in just 2 minutes, and Van Earl Wright will be your host for all of the college football action on this last Saturday in August. Van Earl?
Justin, thank you so much. Many things went as expected, including Georgia's trip to the Music City where dog fans took over Vanderbilt Stadium, and an amazing scene for the Bulldogs and Matt Landers in Nashville. And Sean Elliott and the Panthers made major history on Saturday. Stick and stay. Sports Zone Saturday is on the way.
After an accident, money can be really tough. That's why at Montlick & Associates, we don't get paid until you do.
If you've been injured, call us at 1-800-LAW-NEED or simply dial #WIN from your cell phone. That's #946.
Between working by day and going to school at night, I need a way to manage my money that's and with no hidden fees. At Delta Community Credit Union, they make banking easier and treat me like a person, not a number. Delta Community is everything my bank should be.
With Georgia Zone, I can bank with a local company I trust.
I'm a part owner, not just a number.
And because they're not-for-profit, I get lower rates and better perks.
They even give back to where I live. That's why I'm proud to be one of Georgia's own.
Get more from your checking. Earn $85 when you open a new Georgia's Own Perks Plus checking account and pay no monthly fee for 90 days. Apply now at georgiazone.org.
Georgia's Own Credit Union.
Banking on purpose.
This is Channel 2's Sports Zone Saturday, presented by your North Georgia Honda dealers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sports Zone Saturday, presented by your North Georgia Honda dealers. I'm Van Earl Wright. The long-awaited return of college football took place in a big way. Georgia began the season ranked number 3, marking the first time in school history the Bulldogs had started consecutive seasons with a top 5 preseason ranking. A sea of red in Music City as Georgia fans filled up 75% of Vanderbilt Stadium. Jake Fromm made his 29th consecutive start and led Georgia to touchdown scores on their first 3 possessions. Demetrius Robertson, first catch of the Bulldog, and it was good for a 3-yard touchdown. Final minute of the first quarter, James Cook, 18-yard scamper. Georgia was up 14-0. Brian Harrion added a 1-yard TD. DeAndre Swift went over 100 yards. And Zamir White made his Bulldog debut and carried the ball 5 times for an average of more than 10 yards per carry. Rodrigo added 3 field goals, and the Bulldogs extended their winning streak to SEC East rivals to 14 in a row. Fromm completed 15 passes to 8 different receivers.
We have a chance to be explosive offensively, and we're going to try to be aggressive defensively. I mean, I really feel like the backs I kind of knew about. The wideouts got some chances to make some plays, a couple balls. All we're doing is you're going back to work Monday, and we're going to go out there and go good on good, and we're going to put the hammer down and find out who's going to get better.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit more, playing a conference team to start off with. So, Vanderbilt, they played tough, man. They played strong, and they fought us for 4 quarters. But, that's what it is. What it is. It's football. It's the first game. We're going to take it. We're going to look at it. We're going to assess it. We're going to say, hey, we're going to get better at it this week. Move on and go play the next part.
It felt really good going Kansas last year and now getting my first career catch. And I always wondered how it would be getting that catch. And it felt awesome.
Georgia State started their campaign in Knoxville as Sean Elliott began his 3rd season as leader of the Panthers, while Jeremy Pruitt entered season number 2 as leader of the Volunteers. Georgia State was a 26-point underdog and entered the 4th quarter trailing by 2 points when Trey Barnett went untouched for the 19-yard touchdown run and a 5-point Panthers lead in the 4th quarter. That would lead to our North Georgia Honda keys to the game. Jalen Jones rocked the world of the Tennessee quarterback, forced the ball loose. Deshaun Taylor recovered with 7 minutes to go. Panther quarterback Dan Ellington, 22-yard touchdown run for what turned out to be the game-clinching score. First win for Georgia State against a Power 5 opponent since they launched the football program back in 2010.
Tremendous effort by our football team. Never say die. These guys fought. Tell you the truth, they pushed them around. They really did. We outplayed the Tennessee Vols today. Our football team came out here with a mindset, and they did exactly what we talked about doing. From the time we started August 1st to the time we finished this game, they took it to them.
Some interesting and sometimes scary and sometimes unusual sights in downtown Atlanta with Dragon Con going on, and also the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic as number 2 Alabama once again had their opponent totally outmanned and cruised to victory in week number 1. Last time we saw Tua, he had a rough night in that national championship game. Saturday, the Alabama quarterback was much better. He threw 4 TD tosses, including a 27-yarder to his tight end, Miller Forstall, out of Cartersville, and a 21-yarder to Jerry Jeudy. Tua finished with 336 yards through the air, and he played just 3 quarters. Alabama dominated Duke in the Chick-fil-A Kickoff Classic and win their 8th straight neutral site season opener. Ed Orgeron and the Tigers from the real Death Valley in Baton Rouge. Rough night for the Eagles of Georgia Southern as LSU quarterback Joe Burrow shredded the Eagle defense. 20 of 24 for 253 yards and 5 TD passes, and that was in the first half. Tigers led big at the break and cruised to a 55-3 victory. Two-time defending champion of the Big South, Kennesaw State, won their first season opener for the first time since 2015. 433 yards on the ground. Shaquille Terry with a nice 44-yard run. Then later, David Daniel connected with KJ Hancock. He's out of Sewanee, as the Owls piled up 592 yards of total offense and improved their record to 6-1 when playing teams from the Peach State. They destroyed Point University out of West Point. When we continue, an old friend has returned to the Falcons after Coach Quinn and company decided to change their minds about their kicker.
Sports Zone Saturday is presented by your North Georgia Honda dealers. Honda, it's a Georgia thing.
At Mottlick & Associates, we're here 24/7, including this holiday.
If you've been injured, dial #WIN from your cell phone to request your free consultation. Our firm has recovered billions of dollars for our clients, and our attorneys know what it takes to win.
One more reason, Window World is America's #1 replacement window company.
Our lifetime transferable warranty.
At Window World, not only do we stand behind our windows,
we stand on them.
Call for your free in-home estimate.
Window World, simply the best for less.
At Delta Community Credit Union, we're committed to investing in the local communities we're privileged to serve. We sponsor community events, provide charitable grants, and coordinate financial literacy programs to help our children develop good money management skills.
Get ready to discover a world of wow at Fernbank. Spend a day filled with things to see, things to do, and things you won't believe. Fernbank, Atlanta's science and nature experience.
Cabinets and board cabinets. In stock for special order. No particle board and the best prices in town. Visit Builder Surplus.
Matt Bryant is 44 years old, and this past February he was let go by the Falcons, even though he hit a 57-yarder last season for Atlanta's NFL team. Friday, Coach Quinn and the team reversed course and re-signed Bryant. The kicker situation was so dire for the Falcons, Arthur Blank made a special trip to Jacksonville for the final preseason game to oversee the kickers prior to Bryant's workout on Friday. Even though he battled a hamstring last season, he still made 20 of 21 field goals and 33 of 35 BATs. As mentioned, he's 44. George Blanda played until he was 48. After winning the U.S. Open Cup this past Tuesday, a midseason competition that has nothing to do with the MLS, the Atlanta United had another huge match on Saturday as they battled Philly for first place in the Eastern Conference of Major League Soccer. United and Philly tied for first as United played their 8th match in the month of August. An amazing goal by Joseph Martinez. If you missed it, we're going to show it to you again. The right-footed kick into the left corner of the goal. Martinez has now scored a goal in 13 consecutive games to extend his own MLS record. Unfortunately, not enough. Philly scored twice in the final minutes and take over sole possession of first place in the Eastern Conference. United's next game is September 14th at home against Columbus. The Red Hot Braves began Saturday with a 5.5-game lead in the NL East, and Saturday night they had the chance to make it 11 wins in 13 games as the Red Hot Dallas Keuchel got the ball at SunTrust Park. Over his last 3 starts, Keuchel had struck out 21 batters over 19 innings. He was in cruise control because the Braves jumped out to a 6-1 lead after a 6-run first inning. Dansby Swanson drove home Albies, who beat the throw to the plate. He swung! And that tied it at 1. Still in the bottom of the first, Keuchel helped himself out. A 2-out base hit on a 2-2 pitch. That played it 2 for a 6-1 Braves lead. They go on to win it 11-8. A painful debut for new Tech head coach Jeff Collins. We'll hear from him and some of his players when we return. You're watching Sports Zone Saturday, presented by your North Georgia.
Between working by day and going to school at night, I need a way to manage my money that's easy, mobile, and with no hidden fees. At Delta Community Credit Union, they make banking easier and treat me like a person, not a number. Delta Community is everything my bank should be.
When it's time to replace your garage door, call Precision to do it right the first time. We're Atlanta's trusted choice for garage door replacement. Call Precision by Wednesday and save $200 off a new garage door.
Precision Door Service, a name you can trust. Cirque du Soleil presents Volta, an energetic story of transformation inspired by the adventurous spirit of freedom. Volta opens October 10th under the Big Top at Atlantic Station. Tickets are on sale now at CirqueDuSoleil.com.
Georgia wins big at Vandy and Georgia State up.
After an accident, money can be really tight. That's why at Montlick & Associates, we don't get paid until you do.
If you've been injured, call us at 1-800-LAW-ME or simply dial #WIN from your cell phone. That's #946.
Northside Hospital Cancer Institute. With 50 cancer centers across Georgia, Northside ranks in the top 2 among community cancer programs nationwide, including the #1 community women's cancer program and the #1 community hospital in the treatment of lung cancer in the nation, with the most board-certified medical oncologists in Georgia. Northside Hospital Cancer Institute is built to beat cancer.
Georgia wins big at Vandy and Georgia State upsets Tennessee. Thanks for watching.
People living in the Bahamas are preparing for Hurricane Dorian and its 150-mile-an-hour winds. Right now, Severe Weather Team 2 is monitoring the storm's latest track and the timeline for when Dorian could impact Florida, coastal Georgia, and the Carolinas. Plus, new from overnight, neighbors heard gunshots and then found a man dead near where children play.
I have 2 kids, they're 2 and 3. I don't want them to experience that.
Police are trying to figure out what led up to the deadly shooting outside these apartments. And a live look outside on this Sunday, September 1st. And we think you're going to like this Labor Day forecast.
Live, local, late breaking. This is Channel 2 Action News Sunday AM. Coverage you can count on.
Good morning, and thanks so much for being with us on this Labor Day weekend. It is Sunday, the first day of September, and we are off to a nice start. Hello there, I'm Sophia Choi. First this morning, we begin with Hurricane Dorian, the monster storm now moving closer to the Bahamas, where residents are bracing for a direct hit. Here's the latest. The National Hurricane Center says Dorian remains a Category 4 storm with sustained winds of 150 miles an hour, and it could stay on top of the Bahamas for at least 24 hours. There is an increased risk of strong winds and storm surge along the Florida and Georgia coast and North and South Carolinas by midweek. Severe Weather Team 2 meteorologist Brian Monahan is going over the latest information on Dorian and its track. Good morning, Brian.
Dorian, a monster storm, Category 4. That is a top-end Category 4 hurricane, almost a Category 5. It will become that at 155 miles per hour, and it's still moving steadily to the west, but we expect that forward motion to stop, to get stuck in its tracks, and that's going to mean really bad things for the northern part of the Bahamas. Here's Great Abaco Island. Here's Grand Bahama. That's where Freeport is to get you oriented. Nassau down here, and we expect the center of this storm to move right across these islands in the northern part of the Bahamas over the next 24 to 36 hours. This is not going to move very much at all. That means incredible wind, flooding, rain. I've seen forecast models that are put out 4 to 5 feet of rain between now and Tuesday morning across parts of the northern Bahamas, so a bad situation for folks there. Where does it go after that? Let's talk about the updated forecast track. I got this about an hour ago. I've been going over it for you for the last hour, and I've updated the forecast, and here it is. Category 4 Hurricane Dorian, wind at 150, wind gust to 185 miles per hour. This is moving west at 8 miles per hour now. It is going to stall. It is going to really slow down, and that's what's going to just absolutely devastate the northern part of the Bahamas over the next 24 to 36 hours. So by Monday morning, Category 4 Dorian sitting right over top of the Bahamas, and then we expect a gradual turn back to the north. So this is going to be very close to the Florida coast by early Tuesday morning, staying near or just offshore Wednesday morning. So this is going to take a long time to get even close to the Georgia coast. Now, coming up in about 15 minutes, I'll take you through the forecast impacts along the coast of Georgia, the Carolinas. Also, we'll look at how this will affect our weather in the coming days. That's next.
Brian, thank you. Many along the Florida coast are not letting their guard down. This is a live look at Daytona Beach from our Surfline.com camera. Neighbors in South Florida spent the day Saturday boarding up shops and homes. Channel 2's Tony Thomas continues our severe weather Team 2 coverage from Daytona Beach, where it's an unusually quiet holiday weekend.
Although not entirely in the clear, beach towns like this are breathing easier right now. This area may have avoided a direct hit by the hurricane, but its economy is hurting. Very few people were out in the sands of Daytona Beach Saturday, most holiday tourists avoiding the threat of Dorian altogether. A few coastal businesses had already boarded up their windows, but many had yet to pull out the plywood. We did spot some hurricane veterans filling up their cars and getting prepared in case the hurricane takes a hard left turn in the coming days. Most are waiting to see what comes. When we drove past the Daytona Speedway, we spotted some 5,000 utility crews lined up in the parking lot, waiting for their assignments.
Right now, we have about 18,000 workers that we've identified from 34 states and Canada coming down to help in our restoration efforts.
Much of Florida's east coast is under a tropical storm watch. Battering waves are expected to arrive Sunday afternoon. Coastal flooding, still a major concern. In Daytona Beach, Tony Thomas, Channel 2 Action News, Sunday a.m.
Due to the hurricane, the Atlanta Humane Society is now caring for dogs from Florida. This is video of workers bringing 8 dogs to Atlanta on Saturday. They're from a shelter southeast of Tallahassee that was full. 40 cats are expected later today from another Florida shelter. Right now, a South Georgia theme park is allowing Florida families who evacuated free admission. Wild Adventures in Valdosta is offering the deal throughout the Labor Day weekend. Evacuees just need to show proof of residency or a valid ID. Right now, supplies are on the way to the coast from here in Metro Atlanta. Our Severe Weather Team 2 coverage continues with Channel 2's Aaron Diamond, who got an up-close look at the potentially life-saving work going on right now.
Our cameras rolled as FEMA crews stuffed more than 200 semi-trailers with critical commodities headed to the hurricane zone.
We're talking about life and sustaining life and trying to maintain some degree of quality of life.
Manager Leonard Johnson showed us around FEMA's massive distribution center in southeast Atlanta, the largest of 8 across the U.S.
Our mission here is to be prepared and be able to respond.
The 400,000+ square foot warehouse kept stocked with tons of food, water, tarps, sheeting, cots, and blankets. Workers here are on the clock, pushing as much as possible to staging sites closer to areas most likely to be impacted by Dorian.
The quicker we can get the product there, the better off these survivors are going to be able to maintain some sort of normalcy.
Meantime, inside FEMA's Regional Response Coordination Center in DeKalb County, leaders from 18 federal agencies work to ensure those commodities end up where they'll be needed most.
Well, nimbleness requires you to pre-position as much as you can.
And even with Dorian's still uncertain path,
if we've done our job correctly and pre-positioned it correctly, they can have something to go to, and that equates to saving lives.
Well, FEMA told us it's sending those supplies to staging areas in Georgia, Florida, and the Carolinas, so they'll be available regardless of where Dorian hits.
Severe Weather Team 2 is constantly monitoring Dorian and making sure you know what to expect. Make sure you have our free Severe Weather Team 2 app to learn any updates just as soon as we get them. New from overnight, police are investigating after someone shot and killed a man just feet from a playground where children play. Channel 2's Lauren Posen is live in DeKalb County this morning. Lauren, we talked to witnesses who heard that gunfire.
Sophia, they say they heard between 5 to 6 gunshots go off right over here at this apartment complex. Now, this morning, investigators have a lot of questions about this shooting. They don't think it was a robbery because they say the victim still had his wallet on him. Just after midnight Sunday, police say a 24-year-old man was shot multiple times and killed. It happened at the Polo Club Apartments on Ashley Creek Circle in DeKalb County. A neighbor we spoke with says she heard the gunfire and started to panic. She told us where the man was killed is where a lot of children play.
I stepped outside, and then I went inside, grabbed a knife, and looked back there, and I seen the guy laying there.
And police have not yet released the name of the victim. Right now, they're going through the process of notifying his family. Live in DeKalb County, Lauren Posen, Channel 2 Action News, Sunday AM.
Lauren, thank you. Developing this morning, authorities are working to find a motive after a gunman went on a deadly shooting spree in a West Texas community. Here's what we know. Authorities say 5 people are dead, including the shooter. So far, police have not released that suspect's name. They say he shot 25 people. One of the youngest victims is under 2 years old. This tragedy comes just 4 weeks after a mass shooting in El Paso. A chaotic scene in Midland and Odessa, Texas, Saturday. It started after authorities say a man in a gold car sped away from a traffic stop and opened fire on a public safety officer. Investigators say the suspect then abandoned his car, hijacked a mail truck, and started randomly shooting at other drivers.
When I saw a bullet come out of the truck next to me, out of his bedside, there's some ricochet splatter on my truck. It was all a blur because it just happened so fast, and I'm thankful to be alive.
Initially, police believe there were multiple shooters.
The issue with that was that you had the original vehicle and then you had the mail truck. At one point, we didn't know that that was the same person.
Police shot and killed a gunman outside a movie theater.
It's unreal what these guns are doing. People, crazy people, you know, it just blows my mind.
The shooting hurt more than 20 people, including 3 law enforcement officers.
The hospital has staged an area for the families. We have counselors, grief counselors, everybody, social workers with the families right now, trying to provide them support.
Texas Senators Ted Cruz and John Cornyn have offered their condolences and prayers to the victims and their families. Some shoppers are upset over the way security handled a pretty scary situation at Buckhead's Lenox Square. Shoppers tell us they ran and hid, fearing a shooter was walking the mall Saturday. But police say the loud noise and commotion that scared people actually came from a big fight near the food court. One man told us there was no communication. The threat was over.
Once the all clear was given or police showed up, why were you not walking the halls telling people, hey, it's safe, it's okay, this is how you exit the building?
Now, police tell us no one was hurt. We have a lot of visitors in town, and that means extra cars out on our roads for those of you headed out this morning. Let's get an update on your ride with Veronica Harrell, live in the traffic center. Good morning, Veronica.
Good morning, Sophia. Good morning, everyone. Well, if you want to travel about the metro Atlanta area this morning, do so right now. You look good on the connector. Nothing to slow you down. 75, 85 between 17th Street and I-20. Unfortunately, no holiday travel delays right now. Make your way up from the south side, 75 north and southbound around Hudson Bridge Road. Now let's travel outside. Get a live look at Traffic Tracker 2. There you go, 75 at Hudson Bridge. All is moving well. With Atlanta's best traffic coverage, I'm Veronica Harrell, Channel 2 Action News, Sunday AM.
Veronica, thank you. Watch as crews finally take down these condos that burned years ago. We asked the county's top leader what he's doing to get rid of other eyesores just like this one.
And a beautiful Saturday, we will follow it up with a great Sunday. Comfortable temperatures now up next and following a warming trend this week, plus how Dorian will affect our weather later this week.